This week, Giannis, he talked to some Greek media outlet, and once it got translated into English, it made headlines everywhere. I made a TikTok about it. But basically, what happened is he admitted he's preparing himself for what he called a quote, Luca type trade. His exact words were, quote, just because you've given a lot to a team doesn't mean the team won't do what's best for itself. If he's already acknowledging that what's best for Milwaukee is to trade him, what does that tell the franchise? Now, the franchise has to realize what their priorities are. Is it to go into a rebuild and, potentially build a championship contender again, or is it to sell tickets? But if that's their hope, then they will continue down this Giannis lane. If their hope is winning long term, they will trade him because there's nothing else left to do. They have exhausted every output that they can possibly do. And that is the number one thing to watch. Giannis on the other side, he also said in this interview, he got asked, he was like, what would be the one thing that would finally push you over the edge to demand a trade? And he said, it was simple. If I feel like there is no pressure on me or my team, I don't want to be here. And he means championship pressure by that. With the Milwaukee Bucks, I feel like this is the closest he's ever been to having no pressure. Nobody expects Milwaukee to go out and win the Eastern Conference or win an NBA championship. So I don't know what his definition of that is, but it seems like from those comments, it could go either way at any point.
It can. I think he's preparing for it. I think more so he's preparing for being blindsided by it.
Yes.
Because Luka Doncic wasn't advised or even let known about the trade that was happening. He was blindsided by it. I feel like if the Bucks traded Giannis, it would be more collaborative. I feel like Giannis wouldn't be blindsided, but then again, I would have felt that way about Luka before he got traded.
Yep.
Because once you let the player know that you plan on trading him, now the player is able to control where he wants to go, is able to set a narrative, and that can affect trade negotiations a lot. There's also another part of this where maybe the team wants to work with Giannis to send him to the best place possible for him to win a championship. But at that point, you're not looking out for the best interests of your own organization. So I can understand why Giannis feels conflicted about with the direction of the team because, yeah, he could be let known about it because he's meant so much to the franchise, or they could blindside him like they did to Luka. So he's just preparing for that type of outcome because he understands this team. He understands what he's looking at. He knows the roster. He knows this roster isn't any good.
Yeah, 100%. And what's interesting about what he said with the Luka stuff is it came after they re-signed his brother. Because I think everyone's reaction once they re-signed Thanasis is like, oh, Giannis ain't going anywhere. He's at least going to start the season there and probably finish it there as well. But like the fact that he's already thinking about the team could do, what they could do, that was very interesting to me. Let's go to the team Miles Turner from the Bucks just left. That's the Indiana Pacers.
I think this team is going to be really good. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if they're just as good as Milwaukee. They have a similar record to Milwaukee because the Bucks might have Giannis, but the Pacers have Pascal Siakam. The Pacers have Andrew Nembhard. The Pacers have Aaron Nesmith. They have Benedict Mathurin.
Lord have mercy.
They have depth.
You just said Giannis and Pascal Siakam, but they don't have Tyrese Halliburton. That's the problem. My number one thing to watch is not even Tyrese's absence or Andrew Nembhard or any of that. It's their depth at the center position, at the big man position. They let go of both Miles Turner and Thomas Bryant. They're gone. They replaced Turner and Bryant with James Wiseman and Jay Huff. What wins does that convert to? None. And
James Wiseman looked good for them last year.
Stop.
Before he got hurt.
Thomas Bryant was huge in the playoffs for them. Miles Turner, obviously, we know his role. They lost their starting two big men, and they're replacing with James Wiseman and Jay Huff. I don't think this team's going to be anywhere near as good as Milwaukee.
Huge.
I don't think Milwaukee's going to be good.
Thomas Bryant, he got benched for Tony Bradley throughout the playoffs.
Tony Bradley ain't on this roster either. Yikes.
The center depth is a concern, and I think that I would feel better about this team had they kept Miles Turner. There's no doubt about it. But there's still about 8 good players on this team. They still have TJ McConnell. They still have Nembhard. They have Nesmith. They have Mathurin. They have Pascal Siakam. They have Jarris Walker. I mean, this team is still this talented top to bottom.
James Wiseman, number one, has been one of the biggest busts in NBA history. Number two, he hasn't been able to stay on the court due to injuries. Jay Huff, he was a revelation in Memphis.
He's
I'm
good.
not
He's
okay.
good.
Let's not go that far.
And they're
He
getting back
was
Isaiah Jackson.
he was a revelation in Memphis, but there was reasons he could not get put on the court in anything but October, November, and December regular season games. He couldn't play in the playoffs, and he could not play down the stretch because you know why? He doesn't play defense. Yes, you get Isaiah Jackson back, but that's a serious injury he's coming off of. And quite frankly, replacing Miles Turner and Thomas Bryant with James Wiseman and Jay Huff is not the answer. They're not missing one starter in
Jay Huff's
Tyrese
better than
Halliburton.
Thomas Bryant. Jay Huff is better than Thomas Bryant. He's actually a better backup big than anything they had last year, actually.
So you're saying, okay, I'm not going to argue that. What I am going to argue is did not just lose one starter. They lost two, Miles Turner and Tyrese Halliburton. That's why I have this team in the 30s as far as wins. I have them going 37 and 45. And in the Eastern Conference, I wanted to give them more than that. But whenever you don't have your all NBA point guard and you're losing one of the best role playing big men in the entire NBA and Miles Turner and replacing them with what they replaced them with, I don't see this team even cracking 40 wins.
Yeah, that's insane because the East is weak and they're going to crack 40 wins without a doubt. And I'm going to Vegas with that one because I know Vegas is low on the Pacers just like you. And I get it. It's the small market tax. It's the fact that, oh, they're in a small market. They're in Indiana. Who cares about Indiana basketball? I care about Indiana basketball, okay? I care about Indiana basketball. And I think it's going to be some good basketball this year. I look at the players on their team. Andrew Nemhard, Neesmith, Pascal Siakam, Jarris Walker, Isaiah Jackson, TJ McConnell, Benedict Mathurin, Obi Toppin. Bro, they still have 8 to 9 really good players.
But none of the guys you named outside of one was a big man. That's the problem, Joel. That is the problem.
They're getting back Isaiah Jackson.
Okay.
And they have Jay
He's coming
Huff.
off a major injury. Let's just say he stays healthy. But all right, James Wiseman's checking in midway through the first quarter. What the hell is that? That's not
Isaiah
a winning team.
Jackson, Jay Huff, I think it's not ideal, but is okay. You can manage that. You can manage that. Yes, you can.
You can manage it on the way to 37 wins. That's how you can manage it.
The Raptors with Pascal Siakam, when Kawhi left, they were the second seed in the Eastern Conference.
Don't even compare this roster to that.
Pascal Siakam.
Tyrese Halliburton is not playing. Miles Turner's not there.
That's why they're not a contender this year. If Tyrese was playing, they would be a contender this year. But because he's not, they're a playoff team. They're going to make the playoffs. There's no doubt about it.
This team is a hell of a lot closer to the Celtics this year than they are to any Toronto Raptors iteration of Pascal Siakam.
Of course. I think they're going to have a better record than Boston, though.
I think it's going to be similar shot for shot. They're going to be in the upper 30s for wins, and we can agree to disagree. Have you said the record, by the way? Have you said what their record will be?
41 and 41.
It's really going out on a limb.
Yeah.
Huffing and puffing.
It's not in the 30s.
4 more games.
Yeah, because I think they're going to be a good team.